Hello everyone, welcome to the September 2023 edition of Sky Views. I'm Dr. Jacob Hamer, Assistant Curator of Planetarium Education at the New Jersey State Museum. We'd like to share some things to look out for in the skies this month as summer ends and fall begins. First, let's talk about what planets are visible this month. While Saturn was rising in the evening skies last month, in September it's already easily visible soon after dark. In the middle of the month, around 10 p.m., it's 33 degrees above the horizon in the south-southeast. It culminates, meaning that it's highest in the sky for the night, a few minutes after midnight at 37 degrees altitude towards the south. A new arrival this month is the king of the planets, Jupiter. Until this month, you had to be a night owl to see Jupiter rise in the late evening and early morning. But as of September, it's rising in the east-northeast soon after sunset around 9 p.m. If you can't see the horizon from your stargazing spot, you may need to wait until later in the evening to see it unobstructed. By 11 p.m., it's already 15 degrees above the horizon in the east, and by midnight, it'll be at 30 degrees altitude in the east-southeast. You'll want to plan on seeing Saturn and Jupiter at special times this month when they're in conjunction with the moon. Conjunction means that two objects will appear close to each other in the sky. While they appear close in the sky, remember that Jupiter is about 2,000 times more distant than the moon, and Saturn is almost 4,000 times more distant. Jupiter and the moon will be in conjunction from the evening of September 3rd until the early morning of September 5th. The best time to observe will be just after midnight September 4th and 5th. On the 4th, the moon will be a few degrees west of Jupiter, just close enough to see both in the typical field of view of a pair of binoculars. And just after midnight on September 5th, the moon will be a few degrees to the east of Jupiter, sandwiched between it and the Pleiades star cluster, which will make for wonderful binocular views. Later in the month, on the 26th, Saturn and the moon will make their close approach in the sky. That evening, the moon will be just several degrees away from Saturn, reaching their minimum distance at 9:29 p.m. They will easily fit within one field of view in binoculars. While we're talking about the moon, let's talk about the moon phases for September. The moon will be new on September 15th, meaning that the nights surrounding it will be especially dark for those of you planning to observe faint, deep sky objects. And this September, we actually have two full moons. We have one on September 1st and one on September 29th and 30th. When we have two full moons in a month, we call that a blue moon. And as this full moon is occurring when the moon is near its closest approach to Earth, called perigee, we call it a supermoon. But the difference in the distance to the moon when it's at its closest compared to its furthest is only a change of about 10%. And so the size of the moon in the sky only changes by a relatively small amount, from slightly less than half a degree across to slightly more than half a degree across. Finally, this full moon closest to the autumnal equinox is also called the harvest moon. I've been avoiding it because I don't want to say goodbye to summer, but now that we mentioned it, it's time to talk about the equinox. Earth has seasons because of the tilt of its axis of rotation relative to its orbit around the sun. In this video from a geostationary satellite, we can see how the line between day and night, called the terminator, changes angle on the Earth throughout the year. This video starts and ends on the autumnal equinox. In the northern hemisphere's summer, the northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun. We receive more hours of daylight, and the sunlight's more direct, generating warmer temperatures. But now on the equinox, the day-night terminator passes directly through both poles, and every location on Earth has the same amount of daytime and nighttime, 12 hours. The sun rises exactly in the east and sets exactly in the west. If you lived at the equator during the equinox, you would see the sun pass directly overhead at solar noon. As fall goes on, the northern hemisphere starts to get tilted away from the sun, and the days continue to get shorter until the winter solstice, when we have the shortest days and the weakest sunlight. Those were a couple things to look forward to in the skies this month. There are also some things to look forward to in the planetarium this month, and we hope to see you here. Check out our show schedule and the events for the month on the New Jersey State Museum website, which we've linked in the video description. From all of us here at the New Jersey State Museum Planetarium, happy observing.